Hello and welcome to this week's Mal and Johnny show. And I have to say, Johnny, you don't look any older, to be honest. 80th birthday last Sunday.
Yeah, they've outed me on radio. Your fault. They all found out. First of all, I was outed on Sian Carthy.
Yeah.
So I had to brush up my Welsh because it was a Welsh interview. But Sian's great. I mean, she's very clear. And Cymraeg is fantastic. And she's a great laugh. So I did that. And Alwyn came with me as well because she wanted to talk to Alwyn. And then 2 days later, Roy Noble rings up. So I go on Roy's programme. And it was his birthday in November, apparently. So he's beat me to it, he said.
Wow.
So I was all over the airwaves.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I mean, just for, like a reminder, I mean, I love Sian Carthy. In fact, Sian was in one of my musicals, Amazing Grace, which went to the Wales Millennium Centre. So we shared a stage numerous times together. Love Sian.
Yeah, lovely voice.
A lovely voice, yeah, lovely operatic voice, but also a lovely speaking voice, very, very West Walian Welsh.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where she comes from, but it's very clear.
Yeah.
I like Sian. She's great.
And then Bryn Ammon. So you've been with the West Walians this week with Roy Noble as well. Nothing.
That's right. Is it Bryn Ammon he's from? Yeah. He still lives up in by Aberdare somewhere, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right. He loves a chat, does our Roy. Loves a chat.
Well, very interesting thing. He got a picture and he said, do you know who this is? And it turns out it's a bloke called Ozzy Noble, okay?
Right.
Now, Ozzy Noble was a drummer.
Yes.
And I'm going to wait a minute. I'm just have to leave the set for 2 seconds.
Leave the set for a second, right?
To show you this picture.
So, Mr. Johnny Tudor has just left the set. He's just walking off to find a picture that was presented to him on Sunday's show by Mr. Roy Noble. He's going to put his headphones in now. Right, have a look. All right.
On the drums is Ozzy Noble, right?
Ozzy Noble. A bit higher. Lovely, yeah. What's he say on the drums? What's the band?
The Rolling Stones.
He was in the Rolling Stones. That's amazing.
My dad's on the piano.
Oh wow, your dad was in the Rolling Stones too. Which one's Mick Jagger? No. So how long ago was that?
It was the 30s. It was back in the 30s. So it's before my father was married. So a long time ago, more than 80 years.
Goodness.
And so I said, I know him. I said, he said he was knocked over. I said I used to see him doing an act afterwards, because his mother and father were both deaf and dumb.
Right.
It was great to be able to play the drums. He could make as much noise as you like. But he used to do the sign language, you see.
Right.
And then because he could do this mime, his act became very much like Marcel Marceau. He'd go over to Europe and he could work anywhere in Europe because it didn't matter about words. Language. He just used to do his comedy act with mime and playing the drums.
Isn't that so? So obviously Ozzy Noble. That sounds familiar to Roy Noble. Any relation?
Yeah, he was the first cousin or the second cousin removed or something. Wow. Anyway, or his father's brother. I don't know. He was a very close relative. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
So what a coincidence, isn't it?
The Rolling Stones. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? There is nothing new under the sun. Names and.
Well, do you know what? When I did Opportunity Knocks, my father they used to have somebody in to present. Yes. My son or anyway, and Huey said to him, "You used to be in a band, didn't you?" But he said, "Yeah, it was called the Rolling Stones." He said, "Not the ones that's going today, the originals," he said.
Do you have a copy of the video of you being on Opportunity Knocks?
No, I don't, unfortunately. And funny enough, it was one of the first that was in colour on ITV.
Oh, wow.
When colour came in, yeah. I haven't got it. The only thing I've got of it is, they wiped a lot of tapes in those days, didn't they?
Yeah.
They used to reuse the tapes. I remember I did a lovely programme for BBC Wales, which was called In Cabaret.
Yes.
And there were 6 of us did. We did it from the Double Diamond Club with a big orchestra and that.
Yeah.
And they gave us all our own half an hour, if you like. So I did one, Ryan Davis did one, Max Boyce did one, Iris Williams did one, and Stan did one, Stan Stenner. And it was a great programme to show people if you wanted to get any work. I sent it to Australia, and I got a season in Australia, but I never got the video back.
Do you know, it's always worthwhile putting out a punt. Now, I've got a little bit of a project going on at the moment. Wait for this now. The Diocese of Swansea and Brecon. It's their centenary this year. And I've got an event coming up in the autumn in the Royal Welsh Show. And the last time I was at the Royal Welsh Show, they say about Llanelwydd, you played twice in your career. So I did it in 1986, and it's going to be good to be back in September. Once on the way up.
You're back already.
Once on the way up, once to be back. Well, the way back. And the speaker there was the Reverend Desmond Tutu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, so he was lovely. Now, it's funny, obviously 1986 is quite a long time ago. Now then, I didn't do the Sunday morning service. I did something on the Saturday on the back of like a big pickup truck type of thing, I think, or a stage in the middle of the field. And I'm pretty sure Desmond was there, but obviously he didn't take selfies in those days, did you? So no. I had a friend who I knew was involved in that TV program from 1986. And I just sent him a message. I said, you don't happen to have an audio recording or a tape of that, that broadcast?
Yeah.
And he said, I just moved house and everything. He said, I just got loads of rubbish. Anyway, either by the end of the day or by the next day, he sent me a picture of the video. He'd been given a copy of video of the program, and I've got a bit of a gear here in the studio, so I could transfer it from a VHS into like a digital file. So it's pretty worth saying. Has anybody out there got Johnny's performance in It's a Knockout 1969?
No, it's not. Opportunity Knocks.
Opportunity Knocks.
And it was the special for Knock-a-Lazoot.
Come on. Somebody's bound to have it out there. Somebody's bound to have it. Let us know.
Well, it was Thames TV, which is no longer around, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, whoever bought Thames, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. And the whole thing about... recently, I've been listening to some sounds, BBC Sounds, when they've been going back over the recordings of Letter from America. Now then, I used to have a bedroom right opposite my grandmother's, and in fact I shared it with my brother for years and years. But every Sunday morning we'd have The Archers and Letter from America coming on. I loved that voice.
What was the guy's name again?
Alistair Cook.
Alistair Cook, that's
Letter from America. But of course, they dumped lots of those tapes, and luckily, somebody had found them in a cab of a tractor on a farm. He'd recorded them as they were going out, and then taken them to his tractor to listen to them later on. And then they found another batch in somebody's attic. So, and they've also did the same with the Tony Hancock show. So there are tapes out there of stuff that you've probably been involved in.
The thing is, with his In Cabaret series, the only one, because I rang up archives of the BBC, and I knew the girl that was there at the time, and she said the only one they kept of that series was Ryan's. They didn't keep Max Boyce's, they didn't keep Stan's, Iris Williams, none of them. Yeah. And they wiped them. So they used to wipe them and use them again. That's right.
And I remember, I remember going out the back of Culverhouse Cross, the HTV, and seeing piles of videos. Just, I suppose you can't store them for it. It's easier now, isn't it? Because you can digitize everything.
Digital, that's right.
You can store.
I mean, it's the same with recordings, isn't it? I mean, I got 32 track recordings that I recorded in Lansdowne Studios, big wide tape like this. Never use it again. No. It's in my garage. You know what I mean?
You know what? Funny now, we're talking about that retrieving archive. So I put out I release an album a week, don't I? In fact, I've got a new one coming out. I got a new one out on Friday.
Every Thursday.
Actually, for the next 2 Fridays, Butterfly's coming out in various form. The Butterfly album. It came out a week or so ago, and it's coming out as the orchestral version. Basically, they've taken off out all the warbling, and it's just the orchestra. And then the following week, it's just the warbling and the piano. Anyway, I digress. We recorded that a long time ago, and I just on the off chance, I put a live album on Spotify. My pluggers heard it, and they said, "Oh, there's some nice songs here, Mal. We should maybe think about recording them again." So, well, I have recorded them once. I said in the studio, and I said, "Let me just check." So I checked with my friend Tim, who's very methodical on lots of things. But those things, those files you put on computer 20 years ago, John. Do you know where they are now? No idea. No. Anyway, I just said, that album we did, Tim? He said, hang on a second. And again, a bit like the guy with the tape, he said, oh yeah, I found them. So we've got all the original recordings, the bass, the drums, the piano. And,
so you can remix it if you want.
You can remix it, you can add bits and bobs on. I think I probably will as well, because, the type of stuff that I do and we do, if you put bass drums, piano, some guitars on, I mean, that's pretty standard from then as till now, if they're recorded. Well,
that's right.
Those instruments haven't changed. The synths maybe sound a little bit dated, but actually all the rest of it sounds in character.
But even the synths now are like the modern synths. They're not synths, are they? what they call it.
They're called soft synths now. Soft synths. So
they sample.
Yeah.
So in other words, they play it and it's sampled like violin, so it sounds proper violin.
It's amazing how close you.
Who was the band, the big group that had a wonderful gizmo that was on the neck of the guitar, and it used to revolve like little wheels.
Yes. Yeah.
And it sounded like a big orchestra.
Yeah, what was it called?
Was it the Who or one of those?
Quite a lot. They're like
10cc.
It's called. Oh goodness me! I know what it is. EBO. It's called an EBO. EBO.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
And it was a fantastic bit of kit, you know. It sounded like they had 12 strings backing up, you know what I mean?
And the interesting thing is, Johnny, we are slightly going off tack now, but a thing called a mellotron. Do you know what a mellotron was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of those things.
Basically, what it was, right, it was 60 different tape recorders, right? So each note played a tape in the big box, and those tapes were samples, really, of a flute or a violin or something. And it was the very first, so Nights in White Satin. That used to use a mellotron. Elton John's Daniel, that's a mellotron sound. It's flutes, but it's played on a mellotron. I mean, the only thing is, because it was mechanical, you know, the chances of the note sticking or the tape not working or the tape breaking became quite the high percentage. So now they do, it's all electronic, it's all, you know, zeros and ones, and God willing, it works all the time. So
what about the Moog?
The Moog. The
Moog synthesizer. It had a sound on its own, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, now they do. I was reading something about Quincy Jones. He was doing. I mean, he did all the music for things like the Italian Job. You know, He was. I think he did the music for Ironside. Do you remember Ironside?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. But he did all the stuff for Michael Jackson. He did Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
He did everybody. He's still with us, I think.
Yes, he's in his 80s. You know, he's a youngster, as we call him, Johnny.
He's a youngster. He's in his 80s.
And apparently, somebody brought him one of these Moog synthesizers, so he used it on Ironside. And they said, "What else have you got?" They said, "No. It's not just that one sound. It can be anything. You know, you can make it into all these different things." And from there, in fact, my mate Nigel Hopkins from Forest Fach, who's the keyboard player with Christa Burr and people like that, he actually went out to America and met he calls it Moog rather than the Moog synthesizer, apparently. Robert Moog. So it should be a Moog synthesizer, but that we all call it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he got to meet him and everything, and it changed the sound of music forever. Changed the sound of music.
You can hear funny noise. It's
What's going on?
Synthesizer.
What is it?
It's a builder on my roof.
So you've had a good day. You've had a good day today, then, haven't you?
I went away.
Right.
I came back and
vertigo. You had vertigo.
Not vertigo. No, it's up the road. I had damage to my roof.
Right.
So he's up there now with his drill. Oh. Like, can you hear it?
Yeah.
I'll try and mute it every time.
No, don't worry. Gives a bit of character to the programme. I want to. Yeah, and all he builds. What's happened to the car?
Oh, that car! He just phoned me. It's going to cost me £1,100.
What?
Oh.
What's happened?
Well, first of all, I couldn't start it. It was flat, okay? So I thought I'd just get a jump start and I'll drive it up the motorway.
Yeah.
So I'm halfway up the motorway and a big sign comes up. The trouble with BMWs is they're all electronic.
Yeah.
So it comes up, your battery is now not charging. Stop immediately.
Well, if you stop immediately...
So I thought, well, it must be my alternators. It was running the battery down as I was driving it.
Yeah.
So by the time I got back to the house, I turned around, came back.
Yeah.
Everything had gone. The power steering, everything electrical wouldn't work.
Oh, wow.
Because so I'm like, just the steering wheel. I got home, called the AA, and they looked in and they found that one of the cables had come off.
Oh.
The battery that goes to all the electronic equipment.
Yeah.
And there was a load of water in the little well where the battery sits.
Right.
It got in somehow and it had corroded it and it had broken off.
Oh, no.
So I had to have it all done and I had to buy new parts. Anyway, £1,100. Thank you very much. The battery's £200 now.
Goodness me. Do you know, I know we're getting better, progress, you know, and everything's electric and all that. But when my Mini in 1978,
You just changed the plugs.
it did. I could do a distributor cap. I could tell you when the distributor cap was cracked. I could change that, change the plugs. I knew where the oil was. I haven't got a clue now. You open up the bonnet.
And you had the feeler gauges.
Yes. Only thing that ever went.
Showing our age now, babe. Showing our age.
The only thing that really went wrong, coming on the motorway, come back from London on the motorway, and you've got your accelerator, and it's got a spring. It used to have a mechanical spring, to pull it back.
Yeah.
It snapped
to
the floor.
I had a similar thing. Do you know what? I had a similar thing. I was going to Jersey for a summer season, right?
Yeah.
I've got a car full of albums to sell.
Of course you have. Yeah.
My bike.
Yeah.
My bike. And all sorts of things in this car.
Yeah.
I'm halfway down to Weymouth to get the ferry to go over, and it snaps. I got no accelerator. I managed to get it into a local garage. I just coasted into this garage right by it.
Right.
And somehow he said, well, I can sort you out to get you somewhere, but he said, you'll have to get it. And he put a piece of rope on it, and I'm driving it, but pulling this piece of rope to the accelerator. I got to Weymouth, got on the ferry, don't ask me how. And then when I got to Jersey, I had it fixed. It's a nightmare, isn't it?
So you had
trials of touring.
Trials, but you get by somehow or another. You get that.
You do.
So you had your birthday party. The birthday party went well with the family?
Yeah, it took them all the little girls, the 4 grandchildren came, and obviously the daughters and the son-in-laws, and
cost a fortune.
Emily Squires came as well, and Alwyn and I, and we went to a lovely Italian restaurant, had a beautiful meal, and it was great, really great. I had a great weekend, actually. Yeah. I did the Shan coffee. Yeah. That was in the morning, and then I said, well, no point going home now, Alwyn. I said, let's go for lunch. So we went and had a lovely lunch, and then we came home, and then the next day we had the party, and then I was down doing Roy's programme. And then after that, Alwyn cooked me duck dinner. So I had a great week.
Fantastic. I just want to think, what do you think of the BBC, the new BBC building?
It's like the TARDIS. I never seen like it inside. That big atrium goes right up in the air.
Yeah.
And it's all open plan.
Yeah.
But I mean, going in there now, it's like going into Heathrow. I mean, you've got so much freaking, security. You've got to go through a scanner. It's just like going through an airport.
Yes.
Whereas in the old days, you'd walk in and say, hiya, John. You see it today, I never forget when it was in stand-up, when they started being conscious of security. And I go to the desk, and I had to see some producer. I was at a meeting, and the woman on the desk says, hiya, John, where's your pass? I said, that's a paradox. I said, you know who I am. I said, yeah, but you got to have a pass. You can't get in. I said, well, you can go and sing the song then. I go, I can't go in unless you let me in.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, we've caught up a little bit. Anything planned for this week, or just see how it goes?
Just go and get my money out of the bank and pay people. No, nothing really. I mean, take it easy, really. I think this week. Yeah, Alwyn starts work next week on a musical called TikTok.
Oh, lovely. Where's that?
They did it before, and they're touring it all over the place.
Right.
They're starting at the Sherman, and then they're going everywhere. They're going at North Wales, everywhere. So you name it. The Torch, blah, blah, blah. And it's all about, there's a factory in, where is it? It's in Astagunlais. Yeah. And it was the old Timex
factory. Yeah.
And of course it was called the TikTok. That was their nickname. So although it's not about that particular factory, it's about a bunch of factory girls, and it's called TikTok. Fantastic. And it's very good. Lovely music. So Alwyn's in it, Gillian and Lisa Thomas in it. I mean, lots of people. There's 6 women. It's a very good show. So she started that. So I'll be like a widower for 8 weeks. I'll be here with the grandkids.
Well, we'll keep you busy, Johnny Tudor. All right. Well, look, lovely to speak to you. Happy birthday again for last Sunday, 8 years old and going.
Shall we talk next week? Are you available next week?
I'm available if requested. If called upon, I'll be here.
Okay.
All right, lovely to speak to you. So, from Johnny Tudor, it's tuned by from him.
And it's arrivederci from him.
Ta-da, bye-bye.